Namah Shivaya. Welcome all of you to this validatory at the function, the session on the virtual mode of this extremely relevant and important FDP on NEP 2020. And all the speakers who have been invited to deliver the lectures here at the NEP 2020 seminar have contributed richly towards evolving ideas of how do we go ahead with the practices of restructuring the curriculum, taking NEP 2020 forward. And all the sessions were really wonderful, in fact, starting from the first session by Dr. Leena Vadia to the last session by Dr. Ravindranath from the industry. And all the sessions were extremely beneficial, as well as all these were conducted with extreme support from our ICTS team. And the participants also have given extremely good feedback. So for this brief validatory session, I would like to introduce our guest of honor, Dr. Umashankar Pandey, Associate Professor and Head of the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Sirendranath College for Women at the University of Calcutta in Kolkata since 2002. He had his master's and PhD both in journalism and mass communication from the University of Calcutta. Interestingly, he completed his graduation with honors in physics from the University of Calcutta in 1996. And presently he is a PhD grade at the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Calcutta. He qualified himself for the NET JRF&L in Mass Communication in December 1999. He is the first India ambassador of the International Association for Media and Communication Research, IAMCR, the preeminent global association for media and communication research. He completed the study of the United States Institute program organized by the United States Department of State, conducted by the Ohio University in USA during July-August 2015. Dr. Pandey is also the member board of studies at the number of many Indian universities. He has presented papers at a number of international conferences in Minneapolis, Madrid, San Francisco, San Juan, Seattle, Leicestershire, in UK, in Dublin, Durban, Istanbul, Shanghai, in the Ho Chi Minh City, Bangkok, Colombo, and Kathmandu. Before joining the academics, he was working as a senior journalist with the English National Daily, the Asian Age at Kolkata. He was also in the editorial board of the number of international journals and published over 25 papers in referred journals and has authored four books. He was awarded the Best Media Educator of India award by the Business World in November 2018. He has conducted training programs and workshops for corporate communicators, teachers, journalists, and students at different parts of the country. on themes including data journalism, conversational intelligence, big data, media literacy, social media analytics, Creative Commons, and the journalist job satisfaction, framing of election news, etc. His main research interest areas are the data journalism, framing of election news, media credibility, and journalistic role perceptions. He is also working as a visiting faculty at a number of national and international universities and institutions. He is also working on SPSS, R, Python, Adobe Premiere Pro, Coca Express, and Adobe Photoshop. So you can find an academician combined with versatility practical skills in Dr. Umashankar Pandey, which is the need of the day, in fact. And he will be giving the valedictory address, which will be followed by the release of a souvenir of what happened during these last 10 sessions. And Dr. Dinesh Babu will brief on the souvenir, which will be followed by the vote of thanks by Dr. Emia K. Prasad, our chairman in the Board of Studies of the Department of Visual Media, the Board of Studies of Visual Media and Communication, and also presently heading the Department of Visual Media and Communication at our Mysore campus. So on behalf of the Amartya Vishwavidyapitham, on behalf of the Faculty of Media, Arts and Commerce, and the School of Communication at our university headquarters at Coimbatore, the Department of Visual Communication at Mysore campus, and the Amrita School of Arts and Sciences, the Department of Visual Media and Communication. We were all the major organizers of this NEP 2020 meet. And on behalf of all of us, all the participants, all the faculty members, I extend to you, sir, a most hearty welcome to this valedictory session. And may I request you to kindly do the valedictory address for this FDP. Thank you, sir. Namaskar.
Sir, can you please unmute the mic?
Thank you so much, Professor, for the invite. Am I audible now?
Yeah,
Yes,
now
sir.
audible.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor, for the kind words and for the invite, and standing here at the valedictory address and seeing the divine picture of Mata Amritanandamayi Devi in the background. I am reminded of my meeting with her in 2001 in Kolkata, and I am one of those blessed people who was, hugged by Mata herself, and she gave her blessings to me. She whispered into my ears, and that was in 2001, long years ago.
Oh, it's extremely heartening to hear that.
and that is why this is some kind of a divine coincidence that here I am talking to you all with Mata's picture there. And within a few months of that meeting with Mata, I got into the College Service Commission and all that, and I joined academics and been into academics for 19 years. So thank you very much for inviting me and being a part of this program. And there are so many things happening in the field of media and communication that it's an honor to talk about all those developments on this venerable platform. So as we all know that the ecosystem, the media ecosystem has had a major change over the last few years, and by nature, media and communication is a very, very dynamic field. And I'm delighted to know about the discussions on NEP that has gone over for the last 3 years. But once you go through the NEP, as media and communication scholars, one thing that we find in the document is that there is absolutely no reference to media and communication education. Just before this speech, I went through the document once again and tried to find out whether there is any word about media and communication education. It's not there. It's more in general terms. So there are a few points that I want to discuss here among our peers and among everybody here. So important thing as educators and researchers for us to realize is the importance of providing tangible benefits to our students, to our scholars, and to society at large. Let me just give you an example. I mean, this is the development of cognitive science and behavioral sciences and the intersection with media and communication studies, which has brought out a lot of information that is already in the public domain. When we have, say, for example, there have been experiments where we remember about those speeches about 20 seconds is required for washing your hands, and how could you make that particular communication effective for everybody. Now, when there were tangible benefits offered to an experimental group, so we had a situation where people had onion rubbed over their hands, and they were asked to use soap to wash it off. And only when they could, wash it for 20 seconds would the smell and stench and all that go away. So when this is a lesson for us, for media and communication teachers and for all teachers as well, that whatever we teach in our classroom, whether it is about skill or whether it is about attitudes or whether it is about knowledge or whether it is about habits, whatever we are teaching in our classes, if the benefit is not tangible or if the outcome is not visible in the near future or in the horizon, then there is a problem of motivation, both in terms of the students and as teachers as well. And this is one advantage that we have as media educators, as communication educators, that it is possible for us to design the curriculum. And the NEP talks about innovative curriculum in many, many ways. And I'll talk of some elements of innovation at the end of my speech today. So if we can adopt the affordances of digital technology that is available to us, then a lot of that outcome can be made very tangible. For example, if our students are working on some mobile journalism project, it's very easy for us to host that particular project on certain platforms so that it can reach out to a larger number of people. So that interface is very, very important, that whenever we are into media and communication education, we have this benefit of providing this outcomes which are tangible and which are in the near future. So that is why whether we talk of YouTube channels or whether we talk of podcasts or whether we talk of blogs or whether we talk of even websites, for example, we can provide, or we have that advantage of having these platforms where students can straightway host their content, or they can have their have a feedback on their content, for example. And a lot of the discussion on multidisciplinarity that is probably inherent in our discipline. In many other disciplines, you have to kind of have a push or pull strategy to take them towards multidisciplinarity. But by nature, a definition, communication is not just a multidisciplinary kind of an has a paradigm, but many people say that communication is also some kind of a post-discipline. Or I don't want to get into that debate on communication as a post-discipline, but the fact that we have to deal with cognitive sciences, we have to deal with economic sciences, we have to deal with management, we have to deal with sociology and history and so many other aspects is an advantage to us. But the problem with this, as far as Indian education, Indian media and communication education, is that we have just been into 2 or 3 silos for that matter. One is the communication discipline, or just the communication, or the humanities part of communication, about all those anthropological approaches and ethnographic approaches, so on and so forth. And the other is treating media as a training program, things that we have in a lot of those postgraduate diploma courses. So that is where we have been stuck for a long time. And probably this is one reason why the field has not advanced to the stage that it should have advanced by now. That at one level we are just talking about training programs in print media or in television or in radio or in public relations or in advertising, or at the other level we are just talking about these ethnographic approaches to communication, and which is very, very important. But there are so many other forms and there are so many other parts of communication which need to be discussed. For example, our NEP document talks a lot about climate change and environment and all these factors. And that is where the media and communication discipline will have a very, very important role to play. And the concept of risk communication, which has come up in a lot of our universities outside India. And it's time that we talk in terms of, we frame our curriculum in these terms as well. Risk communication is basically linked to the inherent uncertainties of science. And the problem with this is that a lot of our ideas about science is limited to the school science, which has to be very exact, which has to be very perfect, which has to or which has no question of any uncertainty. But when we talk of scientific research, for example, by its very nature, it's uncertain. It is something whose results are probably not known, or we don't know in what direction it might go. And that is where it's important for us to talk of climate change and even the pandemic in terms of risk. And that's one aspect where we need to think about that. It's no longer about talking about uncertainty and or certainty or talking of these things as dualities, but in a risk language. So that's where there's a lot of work which can be done in climate change and in pandemic communication and all that, for example. Because one of the good things about, if I can call it that, is of the pandemic, has been the growth of health literacy. There are a lot of people who have become health literate in very many terms. People know about vaccine, people know about why certain things happen, or how to deal with these things, and even the concept of antibodies and antigens and all that. This is something that has grown to a large extent. But at the same time, we need to have these questions about climate change literacy, or even things like artificial intelligence, which or data literacy, which our field can offer so much about. For example, machine learning, artificial intelligence is something that is talked about in glowing terms these days, and rightly so. But all the different aspects of AI and machine learning, because come to think of it, machine learning at its simplest is just about sophisticated statistical models done through a computer platform. So it's about training computer models so that they can predict certain things in the future. And of course, journalism has had some wonderful uses of artificial intelligence and big data also. But how we can incorporate into our curriculum so that it can be linked to something which I said right at the beginning, so that it can be linked to tangible outcomes for students as well as researchers. And that's a very, very important thing, because as long as we keep on driving about those things as something abstract or something whose benefit will be seen after so many years, then probably a lot of the practical aspects or the behavioral aspects of these things will be lost. And that's where even artificial intelligence and question about algorithmic justice. I mean, when we talk about algorithms, we have to talk about aspects of algorithms or the policy makers, which has an impact on us. Because it's no longer just about an environment which was there maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago, because this is one aspect that as media and communication scholars, especially when we're talking about a global outlook, is important to realize the new concept of surveillance capitalism, for example, or surveillance economics, if I can talk of it like that. So when we are talking of, say, for example, Google or Facebook or Twitter or Netflix or even our Windows platform or whatever, one of the important things that this new paradigm is doing is to utilize our behavioral inputs, how I behave on the internet, and use that to not only predict how I will behave in the future, but also to manipulate how I might act in the future. And this is a very new kind of a paradigm, and we need a new language, and we need a new way of looking at it, because it is no longer a question of only privacy or monopoly. When we are talking about the digital good, and the wonderful things that the digital media affords us and accords us, at the same time, the problem of surveillance economy is very real. And it's no longer people nudging us to vote for a political party or to buy a particular thing at a particular point of time, because they have enough inputs, because they have been using, all billions of us who've been using the internet for so many years. They've used all the inputs that we could provide them for free and in a natural environment. So we have all been huge guinea pigs for these huge economies, and they have all the knowledge about us, and they know exactly how we will get angry, when we will get angry, how we will be pleased, when we will be outraged, and they have the power to manipulate our behavior. So we have reached a new paradigm where this new digital technology has the power to be stronger than nations. They're stronger than states. And that's where this approach has to be a new approach. So it cannot be as simplistic as the advertisements we see on screen these days, that if you learn coding, you will be living happily ever after, or if you start teaching your kids these coding exercises, they will always be happy. So it's not like that. It's something much more deeper than that. And these cognitive sciences and these even biological sciences, and we have a section called Communication and Biology at the International Communication Association these days, because the technology has provided with just the right tools, so that we can actually find out that which part, or which are the neurons which are lighting up at which point of time. And that is where elements of storytelling become very important. And that is where our discipline and our research, has to take care of these things as well, because for generations we've been wonderful storytellers. And why is storytelling so important? It's so important because people who listen to these stories, they co-experience that. So when I am enjoying a particular movie, I'm co-experiencing what the protagonist is doing that. And how can I say that with so much certainty? Because biological sciences or these new technological inputs, they provide me with such tools where they can find out the exact neurons which light up. So if the protagonist is feeling angry on the screen and they test me, they will find out the same anger neurons light up in my system as well. So this is something very real. This is something which is proved by technology these days. As I was suggesting, these new inputs, they have grown on huge levels, and we need to have these specializations on health communication, on climate change communication, on political communication, and at so many levels. So that is where the discipline has to grow, and it has to grow not only in terms of, as I said, in terms of the theoretical inputs and all, but also the pedagogical approaches. Because much of the pedagogical approaches we are trying to just adopt from a very different kind of a culture, and probably they are not good enough for us. And that's where all these kind of interactions and these kind of discussions are so very important for us. That deciding on what are the pedagogical tools, and NEP talks about that in a huge way, about what are the pedagogical tools that need to be employed, and or how do we work about it. So every part of it, as far as maybe artificial intelligence in journalism is concerned, or as I said about the digital interaction is concerned, or our interaction on the social media is concerned, or devising new storytelling techniques, because this will become more and more important as we go along. Because I'm sure you must have heard that the International Fact Checking Network has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize today. But one very important fact to know there is the the cognitive thought process that goes through when we are provided with information that we do not like, or with information which is not something that I believe in. So as I keep on referring, and probably a valedictory address is not an occasion where I can go very deep into that, but the problem of this cognitive bias is so very real, and these these cognitive understandings on behalf of the audience becomes extremely important, not only as teachers but as researchers as well. And that's where these pedagogical tools have to take care of such things, because if we do not take these things, we'll be left behind, and the world over these changes, are being reflected in the kind of work they do in their journals, in the output that is produced by them through the various academic platforms. And that's where this rigor and this kind of new thought processes have to become very important. And that's where questions of, as I said, using these cognitive approaches. So it's no longer just about or just replicating the offline things that we've been doing so far into the online platform, but using the affordances that digital technology provides to create these kind of tangible outcomes, or some things which are real for not only our students but also for our teachers and for our researchers and these things. So this cross-disciplinarity, this multidisciplinarity, as we said, is inherent in our discipline. So it's just about using all these free and open source platforms, not only for the production side, or not only for the professional content that is being produced, but also looking at the various aspects of the communication ecosystem, starting from the institutional processes to the policy making processes to the cognitive processes and things like that. And I'm sure there is a very good beginning, all across India, and we've had a number of new dimensions opening up in these new vistas, if I can call it that. And that's where I guess the future lies. And I've been given 10 minutes for this valedictory address. I think I have overshot some time. So thank you very much again for having me. And it's been pleasant. It's been an extremely pleasing experience being associated with Divine platform. Thank you again, Professor, for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I would like to, mention one thing, that the immediate responses we got from this session of all the, we received responses to the tune of about 82 institutions. We received responses, and on a graphical scale, when we look at it, I find that 40% of them, the responses came from the assistant professors and associate professors who are holding PhD degree in mass communication and related areas. And very interestingly, I'm looking at that graph and telling you, almost equal, 27.7% women and 28.9% men. And they gave feedback. I mean, many attended, but then the actual written feedback through our feedback response was extremely encouraging. And this, I thought I will share with you. Being the valedictory session, I thought, to such a very useful conglomeration of academicians, and 21% of these, they belong to the level of the assistant professors with PhD holding assistant professors. That's a very good indication that people are interested in interested in contributing towards the faculty contributing towards restructuring the curriculum whenever it comes. And many of them are young research scholars also. Many young research scholars contributed. And this strategy throws open one idea that, they all can be consulted when we restructure syllabus, be it the Amrita University or any other university. So this FEP 2020, based on the the NEP 2020, a lot of feedback we received. 82 people have contributed feedback on and off at the same time. And as and when we received a question, even through the email, the comparing team could immediately pass it on to the speakers and get their immediate response. This has been one of the advantages, and the ICTS people have helped us so much, sitting at the webcast venue itself and immediately responding to that. These have been some of the interesting features of this. So, and this I just wanted to mention before formally thanking you for your brief validity address. So again, we would like to address our university at a later time when we will be contacting you, and this is my formal request to you. And so I request the comparing team to take over and proceed with the proceedings. Next is.
Thank you so much, Professor. It has been an honor. Thank you very much.
So kindly be on the line for a few more minutes.
I will.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. It's time to release the FDB souvenir. I invite Dr. U. Krishnakumar, sir, our director, to release the FDB souvenir.
So responding immediately to the, the sessions going on, the summary of the sessions, all these are included in this. It requires the last pages of the souvenir requires little more, inputs, little more of course, very brief editing, because it's the last stage inputs. So it has been a very good, attempt by the Department of Visual Media here at the Kochi campus. They started from the prologue to the, till the end. This brief souvenir, we are planning to mail it to all the dignitaries who addressed the participants. So Dr. Umashankar Pandey also will receive a hard copy as well as soft copy of the finalized version, which will be prepared today itself. And this is a preliminary release of the 16-page document, which briefly summarizes all the sessions, all the 9 sessions, and including this validatory session. So validatory session may require a little bit of, re-editing. So I'm skipping fast through the, very quickly through the overview of the what I mentioned. Every session has been briefed. Even just a session which was over by Dr. Devendranath, even that has been included. So I congratulate the team who controlled it at the Department of Visual Media and Communication for such quick, because it's media and it's digital. And as you rightly said, it is artificial intelligence. So the conglomerating the data very quickly, responding to the data, all the faculty members were so much engaged, and they were sitting throughout the sessions and listening keenly to this, and they were summarizing it. And the comparing was done by Sudhar Sudhagar, MA Journalism and Mass Communication student, the first year here at the Kochi campus. Gayatri and Lavanya, the 6th semester final semester students of the BSc Visual Media course here. And the souvenir reporting was done by Mariam Tangamoham and Gayatri Surendran, again interestingly belonging to the first semester of the MA Journalism and Mass Communication course. And souvenir contains the brief reports of each sessions. The key points of each sessions only are highlighted because we wanted to reduce the pages to just less than 20. So this will be mailed to all the participants, as well as the hard copy will be mailed to all the dignitaries who contributed towards through the talks and participation. So that they will be receiving an appreciation certificate also. Hard copy also will be received by all the dignitaries, and Dr. Umashankar Pandey also will receive a hard copy of the appreciation certificate. So this has all been done very quickly, and the entire team has been working on it and so fast. And I appreciate the presence of some of the almost all the faculty at the webcasting time itself here. And this has been a very wonderful session. Now I request Dr. Dinesh Babu, who has been playing a key role in organizing it. Anything more you want to add onto this briefing on the souvenir? He's a very shy person. He's still you can show your face and just show your face once. At least once the people should see your face. Yeah, come here.
Yes.
He tried to. No, he. And Dr. Shamin, a doctorate from PhD from England, he has been sitting throughout here at the venue itself, the webcasting venue itself. He has been sitting throughout here on all the 3 days, and he is a guest faculty of this institution also. He has recently had his PhD from Oxford, and he has joined here as a guest faculty. He is a freelance filmmaker, and throughout all the sessions, he has been with us, contributing to the ideas of how do we webcast, how do we do what. So Shamin, this is not pre-planned. You just speak about 2 minutes. I'm giving you only 2 minutes. It's a surprise, yes. So you should finish it. You should finish in 2 minutes.
So yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I mean, that's a surprise that I'm being invited in frame. I just want to be a subtle, presence over here. But yeah, I mean, thanks a lot. I mean, I really want to appreciate the entire team of Amrita for organizing such an event. I mean, I never expected, all this. Though I was in here, I never expected such a, very detailed souvenir could be made, in such a very short time, and that's such a brilliant work. And I appreciate all these speakers because they were really updated. They brought in all the nuances that has to be, addressed at this point of time when we have such a brilliant educational policy that is being framed up. And also as this is a point where Amrita is really looking forward to a updation in their curriculum. I think this event was very timely, and I could see how much of an effort the entire faculty, including Dinesh sir and all the other faculties, invested, Krishnakumar sir and everybody, because I could see he was literally running around departments to coordinate so many events. And thanks a lot. I mean, I'm really being honored, to be a part of the family and being invited as a part of the family now. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Shamin. Dr. Shamin, in fact, just when he submitted the PhD thesis at the Oxford, and then he visited here, he conducted a filmmaking workshop here, which was so appreciated well so by the final year students of the UG and PG. And then later on, he has shifted his base to Kochi. So I am fortunate that he is available always on call to me, and he's contributing richly towards everything what is happening here. And partly because his brother is a super specialist doctor in Amrita Institute of Medical Service, Medical Sciences. So Dr. Shabir is himself a media enthusiast, a world-renowned photographer, Dr. Shabir. So he introduced me, his brother, and Shamin has been one of the things what I appreciate is though being a filmmaker, freelance filmmaker, throughout these 3 days he was available here. He was sitting along with us. So that I really appreciate. That's why I wanted him to talk to all of us for 2-3 minutes. And I appreciate the efforts of the ICTS department headed by Sanjeev Nair and Karthika, our visual journalism faculty member. He has contributed richly towards the write-up of the souvenir in such a short time. So she used all her journalistic skill, what she was using in Asianet when she was working in Asianet for more than 5 years. Later, she joined here. And so she proved herself that those journalistic skills, she just transferred across to this quick write-up. And so it may be requiring only in editing for another maybe um, half a day, and then we will bring out the final version. So Dr. Emia, humble pranams to you.
Namaskar, sir.
So I request
Namaskar, sir.
Ramya K. Prasad is our head of the Department of Visual Media and Communication at the Mysore campus of the Amrita School of Arts and Sciences, and she is also the chairperson of the Board of Studies in Visual Media and Communication. Kindly take over for the formal vote of thanks.
Yes. Pranams at the lotus feet of Amma. I deem it my responsibility and also a privilege to deliver the vote of thanks. Indeed, the word thanks may be too small a word. It may look small, but it is definitely too big as we express it from the bottom of our heart to all those organizers, the proposer, the idea giver, all those hands, heads, and all of them who put their heart and soul in making this particular program a big success. Let me begin from the very topic, the FDP on National Education Policy 2020, remolding academic leaders. I think the remolding of academic leaders definitely makes a lot of sense, and it's very apt that it is coined for this particular FDP. Let me begin. Our sincere thanks to Dr. Krishna Kumar, the Director of Arts, Media and Commerce, who've always been an icon in holding, organizing, in guiding us on the right track and looking at so much of positivity and so much of benefit to the student community at large. Truly, sir, you're very, very inspiring. And there is so much more to learn from you, is what I realize on every occasion that I speak to you and meet and hear of you. Thank you very much, sir. Seeking your blessings for continuing this honorable journey of being a teacher. I'm sure all my colleagues who are here in this would definitely understand and would continue to serve the purpose of being a teacher. Dr. Raghuraman, the Director of Amrita Center for Accreditation's Ranking and Eminence, for his presentation on the IOE status and the performances at Amrita, who is leading in all front. Definitely, sir, and all other participants, it is noticeable that we are already doing a lot of good deed. So it will not be a big challenge. Maybe it need not really be a dream to achieve what is proposed in NEP. Minor adjustments proper thinking and structuring may be required, and that is what I think all of us would gather and definitely interact and make it possible. Srimati Leena Chandravadya, the Observer of Research Foundation, member of the drafting team of NEP 2020. Whom else could we have heard better about the ground realities, challenges, and effectiveness of the strategic implementation of the NEP 2020. Srimati Shakila T. Shamsu, who's the officer who was on special duty and a part of the NEP, Department of Higher Education, MHRD, Government of India, who delivered the entire overview, quoting the relevant sections from the NEP 2020 and giving us a lot of live examples of how things could come into practice. Professor Dr. Anbhuti Yadav, HOD, New Media and IT, the Course Director of Advertising and PR, IIMC, who delivered his presentation on curricular aspects of new media and PR. Thank you, sir, for giving us those realistic, ground values, and we look forward to implement them as we plan our curriculum. Dr. Madhu Vijay, Professor, Faculty of Management Studies, University of Delhi, for your lecture on structuring the curriculum and design in management studies. Dr. Ritvik Bhaumik, the convener, design program and associate professor, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, IIT Kanpur, for your session on new media, art and education, challenges and possibilities. Dr. Shri Vasikaran Rajendran, MD, Bell Printers Private Limited, on sustainability in applied design. Dr. V. Shanmugasundaram, Professor in Commerce from the Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, for a session on structuring curriculum and design in commerce. Dr. Kanchan K. Malik, Professor and the UNESCO Chair on Community Media, University of Hyderabad, for a session on changing paradigms in communication and media education. Dr. P. Ravindranath, the Principal Consultant of RK Swami BBDO, teacher, advertising and PR practitioner, of course, the active member of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, President of the Operational Research Society of India, Kochi chapter, for his session today on changing paradigms in branding, communication, and structuring curriculum. Finally, Dr. Umashankar Pandey, Assistant Professor and Head, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Surendranath College for Women, Calcutta, and the editor of Media Watch Journal. Thank you very, very much, all the eminent speakers, for your valuable insights. Yes, it feels astonishing to hear so many names, but it indeed has been a very rare, a very unique opportunity to get all such eminent speakers all on one platform. Yes, it felt like minutes, and do not know how 3 days have passed by having been able to listen to such eminent speakers. Thanks to all the speakers for your valuable insights. Thanks to the ICTS team for making it possible to bring all of us under one platform despite this pandemic, who's kept us away and who's kept us confined to the four walls. Yes, all these big names putting small things together and making it so very really big certainly would not have been possible without the guidance of our director, Dr. Krishna Kumar, and the efforts of his team, his entire proud team, Dr. Dinesh Babu, the chairperson of Department of Visual Media and Communication, Kochi, Dr. P. Balasubramaniam, chairperson, Department of Commerce, Kochi, Dr. Kalyani Suresh, vice chair, Department of Communication, Coimbatore, Dr. Shri Hari Krishnan, Srimati Kartika, Srimati KJ Rajni, Dr. Balasubramaniam A from Coimbatore campus, and Darshan, Mr. Darshan from Mysore campus. Definitely all and all others in case I have missed your name. Special mention to Mr. Sanju R. Nair for his entire ICTS support team for very smooth, neat execution of the entire program. There has been no hitches, no glitches anywhere, and it feels as though that we have met face to face. Thank you very, very much, the entire team. Definitely, each of your efforts, I am sure all of you would have slogged really day and night to put up this particular show. Without bricks, there are no walls. Without walls, there is no building. And without building, there is no institution. Without you participants and students. Definitely, all academicians who've been a part of this particular program, it doesn't end here, but definitely that beginning is very, very important. I know it's very difficult to put that shoe before we decide to go on a walk and to go on this big revolution on losing weight. I mean to say that first step of putting on the shoe has been very, very difficult. I guess that way, registering and being an active participant throughout this FDP definitely means a lot. And therefore, congratulations and sincere appreciations to all you participants for being a part of this show. And to the student team for supporting your teachers at the right moment. You know, it means a lot. From the anchoring team, Sudarshan Sudhakar, Gayatri and Lavanya, to the souvenir team, Mariam Tangam Mohan and Gayatri Surendra, and to all others whose names may not be mentioned here, but definitely counts a lot for having been part of making the entire show a real success. Well begun is half done, they usually say. Though we come to the end of this FDB program, I am reminded of John Keats' words, who said, I have miles to go before I sleep. I have miles to go before I sleep. Yes, it is true. And Dr. Leena Vadya also mentioned that we as teachers also have, a lot of commitments, and we also have miles to go in creating responsible and sensitive citizens to the particular society and the nation. We have a great deal and a responsibility in revising, drafting, redesigning a suitable curriculum in lines with the NEP 2020 to benefit the student community at large. As a first step, this FDP has truly been an eye-opener to learn those good practices that are demonstrated across the academia, to utilize the opportunity to disseminate the results of successful practices, to meet the peer. I mean, it's true that I have met and encountered with so many, valuable minds, to meet those peer and to identify those synergies and ways of working together in framing a new curriculum under the NEP model. I'm sure and rather request all the participant faculties to put things on paper in an attempt to complete the assignment that would act as a spark to ignite and enlighten the young minds. A very rare, rather unique opportunity that we must start frequenting now, of having such programs frequently to discuss, exchange the ideas among we academicians. So with all those promises to make and with realizing all those responsibilities, I seek all of your cooperation in coming together in future also, and rather engage in active participation in coming up with a very valuable curriculum so that all of us benefit at large. Thank you very, very much for all your sincere participation. Blessings from Amma and pranams at the lotus feet of Amma.
Thank you, ma'am. That brings us to the end of the 3-day faculty development program. Let's conclude the session with Shanti Mantra.
Join the prayer. Amma always says, when you pray for the entire benefit of the entire world. So let us pray for the entire world by chanting Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu 3 times. And let our prayers reach every being of this universe. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.